YouTube. I'm gonna hit close now that we're live. All right. So, guys, I'm together with Clean House and Maui Freedom TV on our other lines, and we're going live as well and streaming to multiple platforms, including YouTube, Instagram, X, Rumble. What are the other ones? Facebook. Yeah. So all of those. So we'll be streaming here shortly, and we're going to cover a few things today, and I'm just going to let you guys listen in like we're on a radio broadcasting, because we're going to talk about all the corruption. Oh no, I'm on top of my YouTube, podcasting from my YouTube. So I'm letting my audience know what's going on as we hop on today. This isn't our first podcast that we have done. We've done a multitude of them as we're getting set up. We know that we can just spring it on everybody and go live anytime we want, or we can record in the background and upload it to our platforms to share with the world. So right now we have part of the Iconic Ministries team setting things up. Cool. So in 1 year on headphones, I have the team setting up, and then anybody can go live, right, on their YouTube channel or YouTube live. Yeah, definitely you have to do that. So we're doing all of our testing before we get started. Again, we have Maui Freedom TV and Clean House Hawaii. Well, well, they can only hear my voice because I'm going to keep you guys in here, but this is actually really good for people to help them with their listening skills. That's one of the most effective things that you can do as a conscious human being, is actually be able to be in resonance with what's being said so that you can receive the information, which is why we're approaching this the way that we're doing it, very naturally. Um, Carl's sitting there ready to go, Clean House Hawaii. I mean, it's exciting to be around me and Carl. All right, perfect. Because then we can just share it. You can tag Joe in it. You can tag Shelby in it. Let's tag other people from Hawaii, Keone Payton from the Big Island, BJ Penn, Tapai. We know that the Republican Party is having their convention right now. Uh, we don't need to tag anybody from there right now, but Clean House should be tagged. And Joe Akana, who ran for Congress as a Republican in both 2022 and 2020. He can just make sure he's tagged in on it. I'm not even on Facebook anymore because I got completely shadow banned for about a year and a half and then completely banned. So it's so crazy that I don't get on it and I still know how to work the functions of it because that was my medium right before they. What did you ban me for? I cannot take that out of my DNA. I can't take my DNA out of my. I can't take my soul and my DNA out of my non-corporate fiction natural body and biological compounds. just like the rest of us on top of this communications, broadcasting, recording. Mageso, Mageso from Kauai. You guys vote for Mageso for mayor in Kauai. Susie, I just messaged her last night. We gotta get back on her and I know she's not on Facebook. I know that she's not on Facebook. Well, just once you get abused so much, you don't want to go back to your abuser. You know what I mean? The Zionist machine. Uh-oh. That's my opinion. We can always go back and do that. So that's what I know, that is once you do it, you could always go back, you could tag it, you could share it in your groups. But once the content is created, it's created. And you'll know if they'll shadow ban us. You'll know if people are reporting the information, because you'll see the activity after the fact. If there's anything that I've learned from, Facebook and YouTube, it's they'll do stuff that's very weird after the fact. Okay, right. So they can go to Maui Freedom TV on Facebook. Okay, anybody who's listening to our call here on YouTube, you can always go to Maui Freedom TV and you can go and subscribe there, follow. We're live there. We're going live there on YouTube, x.com, rumble.com, and Instagram. Well, for today, could you make the exception of just emailing it to yourself? Oh, gotcha, gotcha. Da-na-na-na. So, I do not believe I can because I don't have access to Facebook. Carl would have to press the link and see from a different device if it's streaming correctly and in real time, or if there's a lag, or if you can hear you, or any of that type of stuff. Andrew Aker 1/live videos. Okay, we'll get that link out to everybody. I'm gonna put it inside of the comment section below, or actually, after we're done with this and recording everything, I'll put the link inside the post. I'll go back in and I'll do that. All right. Okay, I'm just clicking on the link. It doesn't allow me. This is what it looks like for me. I can't open it, but I know that it's because I don't have an account there anymore. I know for sure. All right, let's get going. And then if I have to leave because we have an appointment at 11 Aloha time a.m., uh, we have an appointment with another Kanaka Maoli mix individual that you guys actually both know. So, for the record, I can't take out Kanaka Maoli out of my, DNA. But anyways, we'll just drive and or travel, right? We'll travel. Oh no no, we got vote Kelei for governor up there. Okay, well, thank you, Andrew, and thank you for your continued hard work in the archipelago. So I'm Kelei Akana, repatriated Hawaiian national. I was born in the archipelago. I was raised in the archipelago. And then I went away and then I came back and then I saw, a lot of corruption happening here. And I wanted to do something about it, not just this year, but as you guys both know, I ran as a nonpartisan candidate for governor in 2022. And the things that I ran on were, as you can see on top of the screen, which I would like to read to everybody. Let me go get this over here real quick so I can read it out loud to people. If you don't have it on the screen, that's okay. You can post it on your social media account. Carl, if you could do that too, that would be great. It says, for the people of Hawaii, vote Kelei for governor. Protecting Hawaii, its lands, resources, and its people. Challenging the status quo. Establishing advanced education for all families. Providing new economic opportunities, creating energy independence for Hawaii, revolutionizing the providing of quality housing, putting a stop to corporate influence, fighting to win against corruption and fraud, ending human and child trafficking and sex slavery. So that's what I ran on in 2022. And as Carl knows, I registered correctly, unlike the Republican Party. And I ran and I won in my primaries and I lost. Everybody lost in the primaries because of the rules that the state of Hawaii and their city and county and all of their little constituents that get federal funding from the feds and the government, the United States government, what they've been doing and how they've been doing it. And it's pure corruption here in Hawaii. So this is where I was born. This is where I was raised. I went away and then to another place where my DNA ties to as well. And then I came back home. I thought I was retiring in 2018 off of crypto. Because if you don't know my background on that, you might want to learn that part of the history that you guys don't know about, which is, inside of my car, my cold storage wallets were inside of Joe's car that was registered, where I was brutally beaten last year in 5/5 of 2025 by, the state, their constituents, these purported public servants, because we are bringing very, very keen, we're exploiting the problem that's at hand, which is the human trafficking, the trafficking of the foreigners, the trafficking of the people who were born here, the trafficking of all peoples coming in and out of the archipelago, and who's doing it and what's what. So that's why I'm on this call today, because a lot of people in Hawaii, they don't know my story. And we all know, the three of us on the call, you as a witness to the crime in real time, Andrew, and Carl, who is the lead investigator and one of our consultants that we consult with, which we can do so for the ministries. That's on the record, on the trust, in the trust, right? Which is something that we weren't taught to protect ourselves with, any of us all over the world. They're not teaching it in K through 12. They're not teaching us true law. They're not teaching us how to navigate the system. They're teaching us to rely on the racket of the good old boys club to make decisions. And corruption in charge cannot be a free anything, especially when pedophiles are heading it. So I'm here to put a stop to all of that. since I'm alive. It's okay. I'm still recording on my side. Take a deep breath. Hanu. Hanu. Hanu, right? We breathe. The conscious can settle their minds, settle their spirit. But definitely it's frustrating when things like that happen in real time, you know. It might be more effective to just stream to one or record it and then have like an evergreen template database to do the NFTs to load up to the blockchain, and yeah, 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 yeah. I don't think for a second they're not targeting you. Well, because you'd be really great at it. You know, you have my full support. I know that I'm very excited to continue to podcasts and updating. That's all the stuff that I used to do before they censored me on Facebook, right? Like I use live stream, right? I use all of these different, I use Facebook as a tool to grow a network to informationalize people that allowed them to go then ahead and make their own educated decisions. And that's what we kept on doing for free, right? You keep feeding people the information, the content that you're finding. Well, you know, and people are, you know, actually pretty appreciative that, I mean, there's a variety of responses, of course, but you know, for the most part, the people that I was informationalizing, a lot of us are still friends because we all saw different pieces of information past the propaganda. You know what I mean? And we all have a collective consciousness. Well, yeah, and what were the reasons? There's so many different motives here. You know, Carl looked over the case, you know, and he, you know, he's from a third party perspective. He wasn't there. He wasn't on the phone with the police station like you were when you called 911. You know what I'm saying? So he's seen my content, which I recorded because that's what you have to do in this day and age, because these people have become so preposterous in their corruption that they know that their whole goal and their incentivization of what they do is to create a bond on the spot by using illegal methods that have been condoned by predators that are making the decisions in the courthouses for them to continue to do this in the lower court systems, and they're statutory. They're, you know, they're you know what I mean. So this has been going on forever and ever, and this is what the old people tell me. This is what, you know, the kupuna say, and you know, but our generation X, we're like, nah, we don't want to be a part of your club. And there are others obviously in different generation batches, but you know, our generation was before the internet, TV, you know what I mean, black and white, color, you know, before we found all the things about Disney, Balenciaga, you know, all of these things. It was like we had to actually go through our own awakening and filtration system about this information. And somehow we want to be friends still, and we want this problem to stop. Whereas other people are just not putting anything on the record. And then, you know, they're being bullied. So many people are being bullied. All the homeless people, they're stealing the vote. They're using dead people and homeless people. Right, Carl? And we have evidence of all of that. Right? But when you go to exploit them, what do? They come after you and they try to kill you. They try to threaten you. They try to coerce you, right, into their conspiracy to bow down to their ideologies, which are all foreign to me, right? Carl, Carl, Capper. Not just the state, the city and county. Anybody who's getting, all employees. Yeah. So I'm gonna repeat what he says. So it's similar to cancer. They're never really gonna find a cure, even though there are cures for it. But they're not gonna release it, and they're not gonna make it widely known because there's so much debt, or quote unquote what they believe is money, in not curing it. Yeah, there's no cash in cures. Once they figure it out and market it, and then once they know the patents and then all this stuff, eventually there are not enough money, or alleged money. So the homeless problem is a way that the politicians and others, nonprofit organizations, have. They're basically using it as a business for, well, cash flow. Some will call it cash flow, but it's actually debt flow. And he says debt flow because the alleged currency, unlawful currency, the greenbacks, whatever you want to call it, and the banking system, it's modern day slavery. And if you have debt, you're a slave. If you don't have debt and you have value, you're free. And it's just that basic, really. And right on the money, the legal tender that they call it, it's not money. The word money doesn't appear anywhere on the money or the alleged currency or the notes or the coinage or any of that. It's legal tender, which is, legal tender is debt. And you can't legally pay or lawfully pay debt with debt. Correct. Yep. That you're free, it's a lie because you're enslaved by the debt. That's correct. So what they do, oh, go ahead. The goal is to expand the debt and expand the slavery. We have more people today enslaved than ever before in the history of Earth.
On Maui, I'm seeing that on other islands. It's really weird.
Yeah.
And so the state and county are able to get federal funding for this, or how does that work?
Oh, it's a huge enterprise. You got the nonprofits, which get money from the public and from the feds and from local, grants and all the. It's a huge grift.
So the nonprofits, the NGOs, just like Doge in Hawaii has been showing with other areas, that's how they seem to operate, where their money's coming through.
Yes. And 2 years ago, went to every town hall with Mayor Blangiardi and Michael Formby.
That's Honolulu mayor.
Yeah, Honolulu mayor. And
Zionist.
they actually believed that they could stop homelessness. And finally I went up to Michael Formby and I said, "You're never going to stop this." And he said, "What do you mean?" And I showed him what my research and my paperwork and everything that I had, and it blew his mind. And he is the managing director. He knows how to run. He's the one that runs everything in Honolulu.
Well, he just stepped down, right? He just stepped down this week, and he's going to go work for some corporation that's in Hawaii.
Yeah. And
like the revolving door between Blangiardi's office and Hawaii News Now. So he was a senior producer at Hawaii News Now, right? Like the FDA and the big pharma guys, they just like take turns going back and forth between being a lobbyist or being a government agent.
Yes.
Well, a foreign agent. Yeah, well, not just that. It's a foreign agent. They're foreign agents racketeering and embezzling public funds to pay for their criminality to continue to occupy Hawaii.
Yeah. The whole show is it's RICO.
Yeah, antitrust and RICO.
Yeah, it's antitrust and RICO, 100%. If you read the RICO statutes, all the government and these nonprofits and all of this stuff, it's the poster child of RICO. And they're all doing it for, well, it's not profit, but it's for gains. Gains in debt and gains in slavery.
Right, and if you're in a courtroom, a slimy lawyer will say, well, there was no profit, when in fact there were gains, and it's just a different word, but kind of, they're still benefiting.
Yeah. Yeah. And they dress it up like a pig and put some lipstick on it, and now it's not a pig.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, Carl, I mean, on the topic of police brutality, because in Hawaii, obviously during this administration, was never actually, the election shouldn't have been certified in 2022 or 2024 or 2020, or ever on Scott Nago's watch. It was never duly certified. Let's talk about that, because you guys know me and Joe. I mean, Joe ran for office twice. We all know he won his races. And like, for a person of his age to try to like run another campaign again and this, that, and the other, after seeing the level of cheating that has happened and rigging of the state election for Hawaii, like, and then me running, like, it's deteriorating for all of these people who have ran or just don't believe in anybody anymore, because they've just seen the same duplicatable behavior over a pattern and systemically over time. So it's hard for them to believe that somebody else can come in and be like, hey, you know what, we don't need none of your damn money, because we know the money is the human trafficking, right? It's the human farm trafficking using contracts, right? That should have actually never ever been written in the first place, because it all formed from unlawful and illegal overthrow of a kingdom that was already standing. Well, not that I want to go back to the kingdom, okay? But all the way back then, it was deceitful. It was the poisonous fruit. It's on public record already in U.S. Public Joint Resolution in 103-150. But the reality is who is voting in what election, and are they actually the legitimates who should be voting in that election?
Well, that's just it. With the mail-in ballot, especially here in Hawaii, there's no chain of custody, there's no balance and checks. And actually, the Mail-in Ballot Act 136, in order for anything to become a law or statute or whatever, It has to pass 3 readings. And I've tried, it's 92 pages, and I've tried several times. You cannot read it. It's impossible. It's impossible to read. It's impossible to make any sense out of it. Because out of the 92 pages, there's 76, I think it was. 76 pages have lined out stuff, and some of the whole page is lined out. So what's
You
in,
mean you
what's
mean you
out,
mean
what's...
redacted? You mean redacted?
No, not redacted, just lined out.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, and I have a video of that, a 1 minute video where you scroll through and you see it's a disaster. I mean, it's worse than reading my handwriting.
So Carl, just for the record, because it is that what we're talking about this publicly, right? And
Yeah,
it's gonna be released, and we encourage all of you guys to share this when you hear it with all your friends. Because at the end of the day, there are people who are gonna stand in the light, in the aloha spirit, and there's gonna be people who are going to defame all of that. For the record, for the people, Suri Juris Pro Se, you know, you've been around Hawaii for a very long time. You're well respected in the community, Carl. I've met people that have met you, both Hawaiian and non-Hawaiian, both local and not local. And over the last year since May 5th, you know, we really gotten to know each other.
yeah.
We've
May
really,
5th, the
really.
day that 4 Honolulu PD officers tased you and nearly killed you that day?
I mean,
They failed in a paid homicide attempt.
Carl, so
They had to do
break
that,
that
I
down.
believe.
Break that down for everybody. Like, everyone has a Sixth Amendment right to practice constitutional law if they're an American citizen. You don't have to
Yeah.
hire a bar registered licensed attorney from the
You don't
state.
have to participate in the monopoly, you mean?
Yeah, the monopoly of deceit. No, no. You know, but it
Mm.
takes. It's gonna take people who are going, and we have many friends, not just in Hawaii, who are going through the kangaroo court system, and catching them in the act, because they have a narrow scope about how they're going to do things, which fascists do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I've been through every aspect of the court, because what is their motive to do all of this to a person who ran for office, to a female who has a pretty good track record of becoming a business person and building networks and communities and educating people on blockchain technology, and you know, all this. Carl, so your feedback, you know, because we came to you, right? We came to
Mm-hmm.
you, Joe and I came to you, you know,
Yeah.
and we showed you the video footage that I had recorded myself,
Yeah.
and others, right, who are not protected
Yeah.
by the judge, right? Because we have witnesses that weren't even allowed to even testify, right? So like,
Oh yeah.
what's your synopsis? There's like what, almost 500 dockets filed.
Yeah.
You know, can you give our audience a breakdown of everything that we've done through discovery, you know, through our investigation and our audit of what we're doing right here in Hawaii?
Yeah. Well, first off, I watched the videos, and I had very little outside information on this. I just based it on what I saw in the video and what wasn't in the video. And it just stuck in my head. This was a paid hit. It was all pre-practiced, pre-arranged, pre-staged. It was premeditated. There was no stop. It was all set up. And I from the get-go, it was set up before it started. And it was, some parts I would even say have been rehearsed. So this was not the first time they've done it. This is not an isolated event. And yeah, and then from there on out, you get it in the court system, well, the alleged court system, judicial system, and there is no constitutional anything in the court system. It's not a court system. Actually, it's not even a branch of the government. It's
Facts.
it's a corporate entity, a nonprofit, unincorporated nonprofit association, and that's called the Hawaii State Bar Association. and they're not a branch of the government, and they have no legal or lawful authority.
And they
And
also
they
have
take,
they also have no immunity
no, they don't, because they're not a part of the
because
government.
they're technically they're terrorists under U.S. law, international law, Hawaii law. They're technically terrorists with the power because of the influence of the lobbyists who've been here since the overthrow.
Yeah, that could easily be argued that they are terrorists. Yes, but they're
Well,
not.
yeah, you served the governor, Josh Green, for crimes against humanity, and then 4 days later, Honolulu PD tases you because they said that you didn't have proper tags on your Mercedes Benz, and drag you out of the Benz.
Well, they didn't even properly write the ticket for that. That was Joe's car, registered
And
under
then
his.
took the car without a warrant.
Well, they have
Right?
no Form 48. They have no inventory, and they took the Bitcoin cold storage wallets out of the car. Period. Which is more motive, right? So what
Well,
is
maybe the guys at the impound took it, right? We don't know who took your
what we do
crypto
know is
wallets
that
for
there
sure, but
what we do know
they're
in
responsible for
discovery,
it going missing.
what we do know in incomplete discovery, and to get a fair trial for anybody, any person who's a citizen, they are supposed to get us complete discovery, not incomplete discovery. They're not supposed to obstruct giving us the information, which they did. Then they threatened me the whole way because their whole motive was to get me out of my aloha spirit. Right? They put me in, they made everybody get out of the courtroom. They didn't want to let us get our subpoenas. The prosecutor's office lied to the judge. They never I don't have a criminal record per the probation officer. So
Well, and you hired an attorney, which was then also denied access to the courtroom, right? He said he never had that in 20 years of his career, right? Something like that.
Carl, would you like to elaborate on what happened at that time in their
Yeah, well,
fake conviction process of Kelei, whoever the fuck they arrested that day?
yeah. There's just so much. Oh my God.
Just go look on the record. One CPC
Yeah.
dash 25 dash 10 that's dash 0000554 transferred from a previous case that was purportedly inactive while I showed up for court, and they won't
Yeah.
give me the bond. They won't
Yeah.
give me they won't allow me to inspect everything, Andrew. So go ahead, Carl.
Yeah. From the very beginning on May 9th, starting May 9th, this incident happened at May 5th. By May 9th, they could already see that they were in trouble on case 1377 and they were losing. So they already started building another case under another number in the circuit court because they knew this first case was going to fail. So they started building it behind the scenes, never served any certificates of service. They grand jury and the bond, the judge signed for the bond transfer, and they hadn't even gone to a hearing yet.
And the warrant wasn't even signed. The warrant wasn't even signed.
Yeah, the warrant wasn't signed.
When they
Are we
released
at
me
liberty to share
from
this
jail.
judge's name? How do we lawfully and peacefully have redress, right? How do you seek remedy?
Well, that's the whole point of
That's
the whole
idiocy.
point of what they do. So if you can't redress your government, which is how they shut you up, they confine you in court, they bring in all the people with weapons, they intimidate you. The Judge Souza gave this huge long colloquy about how amazing the prosecutor was, Braxton Brooks. No, we'll drop names. Judge Souza, Kevin Souza. We'll drop names. It's time for all of this stuff to come out. We've got the evidence. We don't have to manipulate anything. And it is scathing what the HPD did provide, or the prosecutor's office did provide us in
discovery. These guys are doing
discovery.
it to you. We know they're doing it to other people.
Oh no, we I know through the
Do you have a way for these
through
people
the
to reach out to
ministry,
you, and maybe
Andrew.
we can do a class action thing or something?
Yeah, we can, but through the ministry's work, right? And the mission for the
Iconic Ministries.
right.
Is that
That that thing, that entity, right? We've done a lot of work over the last 2 years since we put that together here in Hawaii. But it doesn't mean that when I didn't come home in 2018, I wasn't already able to observe all of the corruption that was happening. It's very bad here in Hawaii. People are very bullied, and people's lives are
That's weird,
threatened. Their families are destroyed. They use the court system to take away the kids with the child welfare services based on anonymous tips that no one can defend, right? And then
Yeah, and multiple mothers have told me that the state takes away their kids and gives it to like the weird abuser father.
Well, look at the Kalua. Look at the Kalua
They
case.
give it to the worst partner.
Look at the Kalua case, Andrew. The foster parents put her in a cage, tied her up, taped her mouth, and fucking starved her. And they that's how they teach. This is the people who are in charge of who treat the children how they're supposed to be treated. And all of their people are
Whoever's in the
mentally.
foster system choosing those people should go to
Well,
jail.
this is the state. This is how the state makes their people, because of
Right.
the level of PTSD inflicted on them through their war crimes, their democide, technically speaking, by just
Genocide, death by government action. Yes.
right, just by allowing for them to file in a fucking fake court system that shouldn't exist in the first place, which is why the military and the JAG units should all be going into these state and circuit court and this and that and the other based on, FM 27-10, the United States Military Code, the field manuals, as you guys know. That's when I told them I was a repatriated Hawaiian national, and they didn't give a fuck. They didn't care. They said, they tried to make me say I'm a sovereign citizen. I didn't say any of that stuff. They tried to say I was active. They took so long to create their story, and it's still wrong. It's terrible, and they should not be paid, and they should be taken out of their jobs. And there is all of these other constitutional and common law and natural law ways to actually handle this if people got some balls and stand up against pedophiles. I want to know who
I
you
bet
are.
that Donald Trump signed paperwork that dissolved the DC corporation and put us back by default to common law. Dang it, my live stream died again.
The moment you said Donald Trump, they're like, no way, Jose.
Right? Yeah, here, I'm going to send you guys this crash report. You can see it. Yeah, I don't know. OBS is free software. And I had a really nice little thing going.
Yeah, and it's worse than just the children. It's cradle to grave. I've seen in the family court an 80. Oh, she had to be in her 80s with a red band on, which means that there's a TRO against her. She's in a wheelchair, over 80 years old, can't walk. How the hell could she be a threat to anybody? And that's to steal the family members stealing their land from their parents and their relatives, and the whole system, cradle to grave, is just corrupt as it can possibly get.
I mean, we all know, like, you guys know how they forcefully took my kids from me based on false allegations and false police reports. We never even had any evidentiary hearings, which is why they're so scared of me, because I never wanted to be in their system. I never wanted to use their system for help, and they drag me in it. And then this is how they human traffic you. And I know that I'm a survivor. So nobody's going to take my testimony away from me and what they're doing to the kids and shipping containers with pregnant children in it, and Epstein's and Ghislaine's in Hawaii. That's not our
They're
thing.
human breeding and hybrid programs. They're cloning.
Well, yeah, and if you're taking money from pedophiles to operate, what the fuck does that say about you? Right? It means you're already compromised. You can change your course at any time, but how brave are you? How courageous? Are you going to stand up for the children and the legacies of Oliver genealogy's future? Or are you going to be a coward?
Yeah, live on your knees or die on your feet, folks.
And keep on
I'd
paying
rather die on my
and keep on
feet.
paying taxes to pedophiles and think that you're free?
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
truth.
that's the thing, too. People didn't know that the whole fiat money system, the legal tender, as Carl was saying, is all fake.
Well, that's why I got into Bitcoin in the first place, and the blockchain, and because the whole concept when it was brought to me by my friend who's probably going to get a pardon by Trump, because no matter what the SEC said, the FTC said, they did have hardware mining equipment and all of that stuff, but the owner still was they're still they still are not right-minded people, but casting blame and putting blame on the people who shouldn't be going to jail, and then dragging my friend all throughout America in the prison systems, for him not actually being a person who did criminal activity for what they blamed him for.
Oh, you're talking about Joby?
Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
mean
well, they
I
had him under
literally
house
just came
arrest
back.
for like
Joe and I were
years.
at Joe and I were just 2 weeks ago we went on an America tour, right? And a lot of people are gonna from America are gonna fund my campaign for governor in Hawaii. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I left the archipelago and I went across the seas to go check if my daughter was still alive. Guess what?
Mm.
Right? Because the courts helped the dad abduct her from me in Hawaii, and she was already repatriated under US federal codes. So he knew what he was doing when he was doing what he was doing, and they did too. So I'd like the whole budget, but I want it in lawful currency, gold and silver, or my land is my land, not your land.
Yeah, in a practical level, right? Like we know by letter of the law that we're, well, you guys are under a military occupation. The
No, we're
land,
no, 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 no. Well, that's one aspect, but we're
right?
also
But I mean, it connects, right? Because these guys know that they're wrong. We know that they're wrong, but they're never ever going to give up their seats of power unless we take our power back.
well, that's the whole
That's
reason
the
for
only way.
doing all of this, because people need to have to see examples that are willing to go into battle against these guys, because my character, they defamed me a lot. They made me
Yeah, well,
appear
and
to
they're trying to
be
say you assaulted a police officer, and they're trying to put you in jail and throw away the key.
right,
When
so
in
they could
fact,
so they
it
could
was the
shut me up.
opposite. They came
Exactly.
into the vehicle and attacked you.
Right, and then they did an instant bond. Right, they did an instant
Yeah,
bond.
they open a bond on your case because that's how they grip. They grip on every single case, right? Mm-hmm.
Every single case from any state across any country or any uh, continent or whatever, any longitude, latitude map, you know, all of them, they come from the Vatican. That's all foreign. Who owes a debt to the Vatican from the people where we're at? And why did it not disclose that information when they gave you a birth certificate?
Mm.
Right? How come when you go and say, hey, I realized that you guys didn't give me full disclosure about my citizenship, and you guys have been attaching me to a bond and trading me on the GMUI utility, and but we're not giving you anything, but then to use your own identity that you believe you are as a natural being, living soul, right? Well, why do they put the bottom courts to obstruct justice from your constitutional rights?
The lower court, you mean?
Yeah, the kangaroo courts, because their policy. Policy is not constitutional. Right, Carl?
Mm.
Nope, it's not.
And the Constitution being the supreme law of the land.
Right.
Yes.
So if you're a
And
U.S.
yeah,
citizen, then you're saying that the law of the land is your United States Constitution, right? That's what you're saying.
Right.
Now, I'm a Hawaiian national, okay?
And then your Constitution is your supreme law, right?
Well, but where is the land that we're on, guys?
Mm.
That's the supreme conscious understanding of where you're at. We're not in the United States.
yeah. And it's even as bad as the AI. The AI will argue that these laws or these alleged laws are proper because it's in the name of safety, and it's in the name of enough security and this and this and this. And I've done this several
Oh, the
times with
security,
AI.
there are rules that
And I
they have
keep
to be
arguing, and
occupied.
finally I go, okay, so how does this become more powerful than the Constitution? And finally it says, well, it doesn't.
Correct. So, which is why in my First Amendment audit with these unlawful terrorists that are hired hitmen and contracted out by the racketeers, right? Operating a human trafficking operation based on debt slavery. Everybody, whoever's participating, is going to be able to walk away from their system, which is why the housing is so important, repatriation is so important, seeking asylum is so important, so that the database can actually have a real vote instead of voting inside of a fraudulent. But we're gonna run the gamut on them because they're caught with their pants down. We all have all the evidences that we have. You guys, we know that we're living on truth.
Well, and then we got to stand on it. That's the key, right?
That's what we're doing. Siri Juris.
Everybody's got to work
It's all public
together and
record.
stand with us.
Carl put it on the record. Kelei put it on the record. Joel put it on the record. Other people were in the courtroom during this purported proceedings, hearings, with no evidentiary hearings. And I'm supposed to be too stupid because I didn't go to University of Hawaii Richardson School of Law to understand that
They won't let me take the bar.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they won't even allow you to take the bar unless you pay into their scam system, right?
Right, which is all fees,
You have to
which
go
is
to
all
an
tied to the
accredited
fees
school.
to
You
file.
can't just take the test, huh?
Fees
No.
to file,
And
and then that's your consent. Fees to file to ask for aid for help from the public servants that use and weaponize the funding in the budget against humanity here in Hawaii. Both Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians, locals, non-locals, foreigners, non-foreigners.
So you're running for governor, and what is your first thing that you will do as governor? Sound check, sound check. Can you guys hear me?
I can.
Did we lose Kelei?
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm trying to get all the different live streams back up. I think that we're up on X.com and YouTube.
I'm surprised they let any of them stay up.
Maybe Rumble, Facebook. Yeah, I get flashed once in a while, and then the whole thing just crashes.
Yeah.
And it's like when I'm trying to put Akanas versus Satan versus State of Hawaii.
Well, they have, they're
at
supposed to
computers.
follow their
I'm
own.
pretty good at
Hey,
computers. Okay.
all I know
on
is
Facebook now. We're on Facebook, YouTube. Okay, Instagram's going live now. And I think we're on X.com. Yeah, we're on X. Well, something's up on X.
All right, guys.
So, yeah, Kelei, you're back. I was asking your first act of governor. What will that be?
Doing a peaceful transfer of power to the lawful government of Hawaii. So that's the first step. And there are people who are in the government that have been moving very, very at will with self-determination. But we got to get a real vote going. I don't want to be a tyrant even though I am a queen. Right? And the people, they're going to want to, they already know the state is super corrupt. Somebody better, and voting nonpartisan, educating people. Again, take a look at my case. They tried to make me into a criminal. The question is now that they've convicted me of a felony for assaulting a police officer in the first degree, right, for a crime that I didn't commit, we're challenging all of that. And it's, I don't know, Carl, what do you think after a year? Do you think that we've proven the case? Like, do you think that, what's the breakdown?
Anybody that has any inkling of common sense, truth, or anything, read through what we filed. It'll blow your mind how it's horrible. We've beaten them. We've destroyed everything they've come at us with. They have nothing.
So what do we do if they just say like, okay, well, Kelei, we're gonna like come and arrest you?
Yeah, I think they probably have a do not fucking detain around me at this point because there's too many people that they know knows
You're the
about.
hot potato now,
Well, they know there's too many. I shared my story with thousands of people, right? I've been on
right?
podcasts, I've been this, that, and the other. We've withheld a lot of the information because of the incomplete discovery, right? And so we've had to, we've had to navigate accordingly. But at the end of the day, we do have the true evidence of all the crimes and everything that I'm saying. Like, why would I have to back down and cower now and
Right,
settle for less when I know I can go sue them for their whole budget for all the cases they brought against me
right.
that were
Yeah.
fraudulent?
I guess if it was me, I would dare the officers. I'd be like, yeah, I dare you to put those cuffs on me right now because you're gonna go to jail.
No, at this
for
point I'm gonna run.
kidnapping.
I'm gonna run for governor. That's gonna scare them even more because they know I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. Right, that's gonna scare them more. If I became leadership after they tried to target me and make me into some crazy Hawaiian, you know, activist.
Oh yeah, if you're a felon, then they can say that you can't run, right? Just like they tried to Donald Trump.
Well, they tried it to. They did it to a lot of people. They look at what they're doing to BJ Penn. Everybody who ran in the 2022 election, they have caused so much distension between everybody. And they've harassed every candidate pretty much that wanted to go up against the deep state in Hawaii.
Right.
The Democrats are disgusting.
Yeah. And this case is huge, but I've got side cases running that are helping build. We've got another case from another associate. His registration was expired. He bought the truck with the truck registration expired. And the court, they pulled him over and he said, I can't register the truck.